So I've been following the political landscape. It's like a novela over the last month since watching the presidential debate. And full transparency, I've never really cared about politics because I see it as a mess. And it's been a while since I've trusted the leadership not just the president and vice president roles, but also the Department of Justice. And right down to the IRS and dealing with them with my small business clients. I've seen the chaos, and what I want most is fairness. I think we need a diplomat at the head of this country because we need someone who handles our people with care. We need someone who isn't looking at the color of people's skin or the religion that they build their ethics code around, but how they conduct their lives. Everybody's fighting these days because no one wants to give anything up. But it's time that we come together like knights at the round table, because that was a position of great responsibility and power. But it had an infrastructure of checks and balances and belief systems. And it's gone awry. I deep dove into my graduate school files because there's this project that I did 10 years ago in one of our classes, and I typed all our notes out from the group that I was in, and I was appointed the head of the board of directors for the decision process. And I'm so glad I still have this, because this experience was the first time that I saw what being a diplomat actually looks like. And it is hard. But you have to be fair to everyone. You can't cater. When you are at the top, you have to make sure that everybody is on board with a vision. And if the government and people are supposed to be connected, maybe this is our time to connect them for the first time since George Washington, the only independent president, because we've lived on a bipartisan system. But now everybody's viewpoints are based on the system, and we meet people and ask them what box they fit in so that we can decide whether or not they're worth our time, instead of asking them for their story or who they are or what brought them to where they are right now. We studied in this class, we studied the Deepwater Horizon incident with the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And so prior to the class, we had to do the research and read the case study from the Harvard Business Review, and we had to do an analysis of it. And then our professor brought us together, and he broke us up into small groups. And each group designated people affected by this incident, because it happened, I think, in 2010, and 11 people were killed when there was an explosion. But when you do the research, you find out that they were involved in 24 of the 33 incidents investigated during the late 2000s. They had had an explosion in 2005 that killed 15 workers. They had already had incidents as well in 2009 where 4 workers died in separate incidents, small incidents. They fell through the cracks, and a new CEO was appointed at some point who incorporated measures and paid OSHA $87 million at the end of 2009 and invested over $1 billion to improve process safety. He band-aided it. And then people died. Families lost their loved ones because the company cared more about money than about safety and lives, human lives. So when we did the analysis, I saw very clearly who knew about it in advance and did not take measures. And those people need to be held accountable. And there needs to be retribution. Bad dates do not work anymore. So our class was broken up into groups of 10 different people: the safety department, the CEO, consulting firms, the business sites, the plant managers, the victims' families, the employees, the managers, the safety metrics, the board of directors, the inspectors. And each group had to advocate publicly. After talking, they had to advocate to the class their feelings about all of this. So the CEO said how sorry he was, how blah, 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 blah. This was a group of people with one person then designated as my classmates had all decided, okay, this is what we're going to say. We're going to incorporate this. We're going to say we're sorry. This is what the CEO wants to do to fix the BP oil spill problem. If we were those people during this time, how would we handle it? Because this was a disaster that should not have happened. So I was a part of the group that was the board of directors that would listen to everybody as if they were talking right after the incident. And so the victims' families are sad and angry and want retribution, and rightfully so, need change shown. They need to see consequences for actions because they lost someone. That person that they lost was the world to them and to the company. They're just one person. So is the company going to stand up for that one person, or the 11 people? Or how about the 4 the year before, or the 5 in 2005? They just want to pay for damages. So our board of director group listened to each group advocate for what they wanted, as if they were talking on behalf of those people right after the accident. And we all saw the media around 2010 when the oil spill happened, but did we know more? I didn't know details. I didn't even remember basic details. When I looked deeper, I saw the corporate greed and the infiltration of money over people, money over ethics, money over paying quality, cutting corners over and over. Where was the contrition? So I felt this huge responsibility as if I was the head of the board of directors deciding what was going to happen. I wasn't alone. We had a group of board of directors, but the professor designated me. That meant I could shut down anything. I could do what I wanted if I wanted and favorite the ones that I liked in the class or the ones that appealed to my heart. But I knew in that moment I had to be fair to everyone and I had to stand up for what's right and I had to stand up for people because people's lives matter. So our group talked and these were the decisions that I presented as the head on behalf of our group, the board, that said this is what's going to happen with BP now. Post-accident, the CEO is notified he has 6 months. He's gone because it was very clear. He knew and he ignored it. He can have all the charm and the charisma he wants. That's not someone that should be leading a company when they choose money over human lives. So, pulling candidates for the replacement, the board will interview and make the final decision. Make it cross-partisan. Other people are involved in this decision making because who's making decisions here? Obviously, there's favoritism and people in little cliques protecting each other. No, I stand for what's right. And so our group, this board of directors, I was so proud to present these decisions, but it upset people because the CEO, the group of people representing the CEO, felt exactly as the one who talked did. All of them were fighting for a cause and they felt like they failed. But I explained exactly why it happened. And I explained that the timeline given was to not just upend and punish, but to create an opportunity for something better because the analysis showed this was not good. He knew and he ignored it. Visiting the top 3 safest sites according to the reports and the bottom 3. Benchmarking, doing a comparison. We talk about Gemba in the class because if you're not at where the work is happening, you don't know. How do you know what's involved in doing the jobs that you're overseeing? The managers in the company were not given authority. They were not given freedom to manage their teams effectively because it's all micromanaged, because they're chosen based on who their family is or how much money they have, and then they just have to follow the leader. There's no accountability. So, visiting the victims' families and the employees face to face, the leadership of this company will go apologize to those families, those 11 families. That is the least they can do. People don't want to approach face to face because that's hard to say, I'm sorry. But that is the result of their actions, and they need to see that firsthand because a check paying off that family for a lost life, that's not enough. There needs to be change. There needs to be difference in the system that obviously failed. The safety department gone immediately. The vice president that is over the Department of Safety fired. The other C-suite execs keep their job pending improvements in the metrics for their respective departments. Because we're not going to let people go that had nothing to do with this. But the people that were directly involved and ignored precautions that could have been taken to save lives cannot keep working for this company if this company is going to stand up for what's right. It's poison. And all it takes is one bad seed to create a clique and disturb unity in what can be a collective of a company doing something to bring forth a vision, and everyone has a part. If people don't have a part and they don't have a say, they don't have a purpose. If you don't know why you hired them, and you're not, or you're not paying them what they're worth, what are you telling them? Mandating modifications and inspections, allowing managers to have the power to shut down production at any point if there's a concern for safety. And obviously, there needs to be checks and balances, accountability. There needs to be multiple people from different areas, different points of view, not all one department making decisions about things that don't even affect them directly. No. Who's directly involved? Who has a say? Involve them in the process. Why wouldn't you do that? Do you want to change, or are you just saying you want to change, BP? And I'm saying all this not even knowing what changes they implemented. All I studied was the accident. So I don't know what happened. But our decisions, as I spoke on behalf of my group and we gave those decisions, it was hard because each group didn't get exactly what they wanted. But at the end of the day, at the end of that class, the professor made our board of directors group feel so much better because we felt like no one got what they wanted. But the professor asked every single group after that if they felt good about the decision that was made and if they agreed. And every single group nodded and said yes, even the CEO group that we fired, because it was fair and it was right. And if that is how a president can lead this country, that is someone I will vote for.